Alright guys, let's get this water pump out of here. The first thing we're going to do is we got to remove this air tube. First of all, we got a little sensor right over here. This is the air temperature sensor. And what it's got right on the top, there's a little bitty tab that you got to squeeze down on the tab and push the plug back. I'm going to use a screwdriver to help me out here and unplug it. I'm going to set that down to the side. Now I got a flat screwdriver. What I'm going to do is loosen up the clamp right here. Okay, shake that loose off of there. Come down this side. We got a little hose right here. And we can either disconnect the hose from back here where the oil filler cap is, which I am. Then we got a little wiring harness right here. Now this little wiring harness got a little plastic clip. And that's all I have to do is get my flat screwdriver and just pry up on that. Or you can get a pair of pliers or something, and see that just pops right out of there. That's good. We are good to go right now. The next thing we're going to do is remove the rest of this. Now there's two ways we can do this. We can either remove the clamp here, loosen up the clamp, and move the tube out the way, but I like to have a lot of space. So what I'm going to do is this whole big clamp right here, I'm going to slide this clamp over. Hey, how's it going, man? Open that clamp like that. Pick up on the whole thing. Now, right here we got our mass airflow sensor. So what I gotta do here is go over here and unplug it. Now to unplug this, you see it right in there, there's a little bitty tab. So what we're gonna do is squeeze that tab down and pull that apart. That's great. We can take that to the side along with our clamp. Now it's a good time to take a look at your air filter to see how your air filter looks. It's a little dirty, but still good. All right, we're gonna set this to the side and we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do, let's take off our radiator cap. Put that down to the side. Now let's go up underneath. Now underneath what you're going to need is a 19mm shallow socket 3/8 drive, and I got my 3/8 drive ratchet. Alright, and get you a drain pan. And you're going to go under the driver's side, passenger side of the vehicle. Oh. Down. Right. Right here, guys, there's the drain plug for it. And
right there.
Huh?
Right there.
Yeah.
Good drain.
And what you're gonna do is get your 19mm ratchet, put it on there. All right, now you're gonna back up because it's gonna start pouring out. Got my drain pan up under here, and what you're gonna do is start loosening this up. And as you start loosening it up, you should have antifreeze starting to come out here. There we go. All right, now we're gonna start letting all this antifreeze drain. And we're gonna go back on to the top, all right? We'll be right back. All right, guys, you can hear our antifreeze is still draining down here. The next thing we wanna do is we wanna loosen up our fan clutch. Now the fan on these got one big bolt right in the center of the fan, all right? It's not those little bolts. If you can see down in there, way down in there, I got the way. You can see down in there? Start zooming in. All right, guys, you know what? Let me get a light, guys. I'll be right back. All right, guys, we got an angle right here. You do not want to loosen up the bolts, the little bolts up there. We're gonna get that one big nut. Now, some water pumps have its reverse threading, and some are the other threading. So what you want to do is, we got our new pump right here. once you know which way that comes off, take this little plastic cover off here. This cover is to protect the threading. Then what you want to do is take your thumbnail, put it into one of the grooves, and you want to turn it, the pump. Okay, now I can see that my thumb is starting to go down, so I know, okay, it's regular threading. To take that off, I just got to go counterclockwise. So now we're good. I can put this up. The next thing you want to do, guys, you go to AutoZone or something and get you one of them loaner tools. Now over here, I have a fan clutch master kit, but you can go to AutoZone and you can borrow them, or believe me, this right now I got this from Matco Tools, and I had this for a while. If I had a chance to do it all over again, I'd go to Harbor Freight or something and get them, because I know I probably overpaid for this mess. All right, so what I want here is my 1 7/16 inch wrench. Now, you're supposed to hold the back of it and use the tool and all that. Forget that, I'm gonna show you guys a nice quick way. Take the wrench, and you might have to go like angle down like this to see it. You're gonna put the wrench. Can you see it down there? Huh? Put the wrench on the nut right there. Okay, there it is, right in the way, right in there. Now you got that in there. Put it up like this. Now, check this out, guys. What you want to do? Get back up. Get you a hammer, and you're going to use a method called shock and awe. You're going to hit this and shock it, and actually shock that fan loose. Now, it's not going to do it on the first time. It might not do it on the second or third or fourth or fifth or whatever. But every time you hit it, it is loosening just a little bit more. Bless you. Again, guys, it takes a little time. And you'll know when it comes loose, because it'll just be loose. So, dang it! I dropped that wrench dead into the antifreeze. Alright, we're cool with that. Now, as you can see now, I'm turning the fan and try to get down, way down, come over here, get down in that angle down there. If you can see the nut on it. Huh? Alright, you can see the nut? Alright. Well, he said, yeah, I got it. Alright, so you can see it's coming loose right now. But I don't want to take that off just yet. What I want to do now is, what I actually want to do is go down here, get my wrench. Now, what I want to do, okay, now, I got my 10mm shallow socket, 3/8 drive, my 3/8 drive ratchet, and what I want to do now is remove the shroud. You got a 10mm bolt right here, and you got a 10mm bolt here on the other side. So what I'm going to do is go ahead, remove those two bolts, and over here. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, our fan shroud just comes right up. It's just held in by clips at the bottom. So now that I got that loose, now I want to carefully keep on loosening up, unscrewing my fan. And guys, you want to be very careful. Don't let this thing jump off real quick, because it's right in the radiator is right in the front of it, and you don't want that fan, them blades to come down and damage that radiator. So you just want to keep turning it off. And I can pretty much know right now I'm getting close to the edge. Because what you gotta do is take this whole thing out as an assembly. There we go. Reach down here and grab our fan. And it's coming up. Get the whole thing out just like this. Alright, so we're gonna set this down and we'll be right back.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. What we're gonna be doing while the antifreeze is draining out, we're gonna take out the belt, but before we do that, we're gonna take out the water pump pulley. So what you want to do?
Not take it off, we're gonna loosen it.
We're gonna loosen it up, my bad.
Alright.
And ladies and gentlemen, be careful now, stay away from the radiator because you don't want to damage it or nothing.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you got the right one. You got the right one.
Alright, check this out. As you can see, it's turn while you try to do it. So I can show you a little trick.
Okay.
Should you get you a flathead screwdriver? And what you want to do is sit it like along here. See if I get it right there.
I can't help it, man. Alright, you gotta tell the show, man, how you got that? No, just loosen it up, that's all.
Alright.
Just loosen them up.
Excuse me. Try not to hit that radiator.
Keep turning, just lock that screw over there. I'm playing around, Marquis.
Are you blessed? Oh.
There you go, now you got it. Alright, so Marquis gonna loosen all four of those up and we'll be right back.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so now I got my 3X ratchet with no socket.
What you doing, man? Where you going? Tell me what you're doing, man.
So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get ready and loosen this up to take the belt off.
What is that?
This is the
Belt tensioner.
the belt tensioner.
Alright, now how are you? Where you putting that at?
I'm putting it right here in this little place right here where my finger at. I got my finger in the inside a little bit, but I don't want to get it all the way up there. But I'm gonna stick it right there and do it very gentle because I don't want to hit this radiator or damage it. And I want to turn it counterclockwise when I get it in there. Oh, man.
Alright. Alright, put the camera over here. Right here. Marquis almost got it. Alright guys, what you want to do is just take the end of the ratchet. You want to put it into the tensioner and it's going to be spring loaded. Now, you see it spring loaded and you can see the whole belt loosen up as I do it. So what I'm going to do is hold it over, take my hand up here on the top. You can either take the belt off of here. Wow, look at this, guys. She's going to need us a pulley on here. Take the belt off and then slowly release your tensioner. Then take your ratchet out of there. Now, you can take off the belt. Put the belt to the side. Now, what we can do is go ahead and finish taking off the rest of the 4 nuts and take our pulley off of there. And it looks like our antifreeze is finished draining. So what I'm gonna do is go down here, close off the drain. And that was a 19 millimeter. and that is plastic. So, you know, it ain't like, not like you tighten up a bolt. And what I'm gonna do is go down here and just bring that in just till it stops, and that's it. The next thing we're gonna do is move our drain pan towards the center of the engine, where our water pump is located, because there's still gonna be antifreeze coming out of here. All right, so let's get these 4 bolts off, and we'll be right back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you see we got all the bolts loosened off. Now, as you can see, this a little tight. It's supposed to, you know, come out. So what I want to do is, I want to take me a hammer and just hit it just a little nicer. But make sure, again, please do not hit the radiator. Please stay away from it as far as possible as you can.
Here it comes. All right, we're good. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, we're ready to go now. The next thing we got, got 2 hoses here. One right here. So what I'm gonna do is, you can either use a pair of needle nose pliers to try to reach in there and get it and squeeze that clamp together. Bring that hose down like that. Let it go. Now we got to loosen it up. Now you can either try to grab it and try to push it down, but a lot of times it's sealed up because of the clamp squeezing together, so it makes it kind of difficult to get that off. Now you got 2 ways of doing this. One, get us a flat screwdriver and you can try to pry that off. Try to get that screwdriver in there, being very careful not to poke the hose. Or number 2, get you a pair of hose pliers and carefully grab the hose, let the hose pliers go around it, and wiggle it back and forth just like that to get that out of there. And we're gonna bring that down. And you gotta be very careful with these hose pliers, because these are small hose pliers. You don't want to make sure it don't grab it and pinch that hose and put a hole in it also. So we're gonna slowly bring that down. We got our pan up under there just in case we got any excess antifreeze. A little bit it came out. All right, let's bend our hose down out of the way. All right, that's one hose. The next hose is over here, big one. Get our needle nose. Squeeze it together, squeeze that clamp together. And bring that clamp down. Guys, I hate these clamps. I really hate these clamps. All right, there we go. Bring that down. All right, now, our hose pliers are way too small to get that. So I'm definitely gonna have to use my screwdriver and get in there and break that seal. And guys, this is a time-consuming thing, man. You gotta get a little patience on it. You gotta work it around like that. And once you're confident you got it all broken, sealed around there, slowly bring our hose down. Now, their antifreeze will come out of this hose. So matter of fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move the pan over just a little bit. And when I take the hose down, dang it, gotta move it over a little bit more. Move it back the other way now. All right. Get that hose and bend that hose downward. Out of the way. All right, guys, we are looking great here. We are looking really good. The next thing we're gonna do, we got a bunch of 10mm bolts. So let's get our socket and ratchet. We're gonna use air tools on this one so it'll be much quicker and get this thing out of here. We'll be right back. All right, guys, I am gonna show you something here. Here's our water pump. There's a bunch of bolts. There's the hose, little hose we took off. There's the big one. This thing's got a bunch of 10mm bolts into it. So that's a bunch of bolts. So what we're gonna do is go over here. Let's go to the front of the engine now. And what I got is a 10mm deep 3/8 drive with a 4-inch 3/8 drive extension. And I got my 3/8 drive ratchet. And what I'm gonna do here is go around and start on one corner and just start loosening up all the bolts. Oh, ain't a bolt. Okay. And actually, I mean, I'm loosening them up now, but you can actually take them out. But what we want to do here, we want to make sure all bolts are the same length, because if some of them are longer than the other, we want to make sure we put them back in the exact same spot. So what we can do here is, as we taking out a bolt, we can put it into the water pump, the new water pump, so we can make sure exactly where it goes and there's no problem. All right, now I got them all loose. Now what I'm gonna do is switch over. Get all our tools out of the way. Switch over to my air ratchet. And I'm gonna take my new water pump and I'm gonna set it right here on the engine, somewhere right about there. All right, so now let me see. I'm gonna start. I see a little turn right here on the water pump. So what I see, I'm gonna start right here. And I'm gonna put it onto the water pump up here. Up here, man, up here. Put it up there, and I'm gonna keep going around. Put it back up here, and I'm gonna go through all around the bolts, just so I know just to make sure all of them are the same size, and if any of them longer than the other one, we can know exactly where they go. All right, so let's get all these bolts out, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, check this out. There's a bolt over here that's kind of right behind the tensioner, and if you look up here on the pump, I'm at this bolt right here. Now, I can get that bolt out, which I got it, but you know, I ain't liking that. I'm not liking the fact that the tensioner is in the way, because it's gonna make it difficult to get the whole gasket off and all that. So what we're gonna do here, let's see what size this is. I got a 13mm shallow socket, 3/8 drive. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna take our tensioner right off. Set that to the side, and that way it's easier to get to that board there. You know what, guys? And actually, we're gonna make this a little better, even better for ourselves. We got our idler pulley here, just so I can see it better. That's all in my way, man. I ain't trying. We got a 15mm. Got a 15mm shallow. Go ahead, take this off. Set that to the side. And now we can see our pump just a little bit better. All right, now let's continue to get those bolts out and put them in here. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we're on our last bolt. And we're good to go because all bolts are the same size. So I'm not even worried about that now. Now, we can take all our bolts out of the new pump. We're going to put them back and put them to the side. Lay them down over here. All right, the next thing we're going to do, let's get our pump over there. Now, your pump might be stuck. You might be able to grab it and jiggle it out of the way, but this one's not. If not, get your little hammer and you're just going to start tapping it. Again, be very careful of that radiator in the front. Now, a lot of guys gave a couple of suggestions. They said take a big piece of cardboard and stick it right there so you wouldn't damage it. So that's a good recommendation. So I advise using that. Now, let's go over here. Look at our new pump, our old pump. Now, see what happens, guys? These things got weep holes in them. So when the seal inside goes, you see all the antifreeze over there. This thing was really leaking out. That's a lot of antifreeze. So that's how you know it's bad. The next thing we're gonna do is we gotta clean up all this gasket. Now I'm gonna show you a couple ways, guys. You can get a scraper, or this is a great time to have air tools or a cordless tool that can get in here and clean that up. All right, so I'm gonna show you a couple ways and we'll be right back. All right, guys, a couple of ways of doing this. One, you can get a little razor blade. You can get some sandpaper. Get a little scraper. Yeah, this is really time consuming, guys, doing it this way. And, you know, you take a scraper and you go around. Try to get it better. Ding. All right, now check it out, guys. You can either scrape it like that, or you get the longer scrapers and try to go around and scrape it. But what we're gonna be using is these tools right here. One, I'm gonna be using my wire wheel brush to see if I can get down in there like that and go. Yeah, I can go around like with my wire wheel, which is really good. So if you can get something like that, that'd be great. Or I can use my right angle die grinder with my surface preparing tool, or I can go in there and get in there like that. But let me see. I'm gonna try my wire wheel brush better. Let's try that out. Thank you. All right, but before I do this, guys, let me go get my safety glasses and then we'll be right back. All right, guys, check it out. We're gonna be using our wire wheel brush, and you gotta be careful with these, guys, because this thing spins really fast. And you can see the wire wheels, a lot of them are gone. These things will actually fly out of the tool. So you definitely don't want one of them flying out. And I've had plenty of them get stuck in my clothes and all. So you want to get you some safety goggles, some nice thick ones too. So you can put that thing on. Then we're going to go in here. We're going to go around and clean this up. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright, guys, when Marquise is over there doing that, we're going to come over here and prepare the water pump to get ready to be installed. What we got here is a tube of weather stripping and silicone. What we're going to do is turn the water pump, new water pump, upside down, get our gasket, and what we're going to do here, this got new studs in it, so we're going to be putting the new studs on that. That's got bolts. Oh well. So what we're going to be doing is putting the weather stripping on this side and then put the gasket on. That way, when the next person has to do a water pump, when they take that pump off, the gasket is going to come right with them instead of the person got to sit there and grinding like and scraping like we're doing right now. All right, so let's get this set up. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we got it turned around. Let's carefully take our gasket out of here without ripping it. What we're going to do is take your weather stripping, and we're going to put a nice thin bead around where the gasket goes. That's perfect. Now I should have placed the gasket up there of how it's going to go, because that's wrong. That's right. So we're going to lay our gasket down on top. Now, what you can do right here, take the bolts, stick the bolts in it, just a few of them, just to make sure the gasket is in place. And you got about 10 minutes before that weather stripping hardens up. So, matter of fact, let's put all our bolts in there. just so everything lined up perfectly. Okay, everything is lined up. Then we're gonna go around, push our gasket down into place. Again, this is so the next time somebody does a water pump on this vehicle, even if it's us, when we go take that pump off, that gasket's gonna come right with the pump. And there's no scraping or nothing. There'll be very little, because then we're going to use the red silicone on the other side. Now, guys, are different silicones: blue, black, red. I don't care, whatever one. Try to stick with the red, because the red is high temp. Engines heat up, so you want to make sure that make sure have some heat, something that protects against heat and will not break down and leak. All right, all the bolts are in there. We're going to let that set for about 5-10 minutes. And then we're going to get ready to install it. Now, on this new pump, as you saw earlier, this came with new studs, but our water pump has bolts, so we're not going to worry about that. All right, nothing else is in the box. We can take our old pump, throw it in the box, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, ready? We're going to take all our bolts out of here. Then, now as you can see, where our water pump goes, so that's nice and clean. That's good to go. Now we're gonna do, we got our red silicone, and now we're gonna do a nice thin bead around the gasket. Man, I should have been an artist, man. Look at that perfect.
Told him, man, he a genius. You don't believe me.
All right, that's good. That's good. That's great.
They gotta beat you in person.
Huh?
They gotta beat you in person. Find out you're a genius.
All right, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get our pump out of here, stuck up in here, and what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get 2 bolts somewhere. Make sure the bolts are easy to get to, and that's, you know what? These 2 right here. Whoops. That one and that one is easy to get to. Okay, what we're gonna do is slowly lower our water pump down in there. There we go. Bring it up to the block. And see, these 2 bolts right there, very easy to get to. So we wanna just get those lined up and take our hand and slowly just start those 2. And once we get those 2 started, then we can just let that pump rest. Because now we know the rest of them are going to line up. So now what we do is go around and start putting the rest of our bolts. Now what you can do here is we can use our 4-inch 3/8 drive extension, or our 10mm deep socket 3/8 drive, and we can start taking our bolts like this. Now a little trick, guys. Battery's going dead. Okay, we're going with it. Now what we can do, guys, check this out. What you can do is always get a piece of plastic or something, put it on the head of the bolt, so that way you can go ahead and sit down here. You can go ahead and dang it, man, where that bolt go at? Okay, I see it. Let's try another one before the battery go dead. Let's get this one. Put that bolt in there like that, and reuse our plastic. So we're gonna go around and put all the bolts in by hand, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got all the bolts in by hand. The next thing we're gonna do is go around and what I'm gonna go by hand. I'm gonna go by hand and bring them all the way in closer, because I want to make sure that pump goes across there, goes flush evenly. I mean, you can use the ratchet, but I just want to make sure. And then it also lets me make sure that I'm not going cross-threaded. Now, you can, if you want, you can use your, the battery going dead? Oh, man. All right. You can use your ratchet. reckon there's both batteries good going dead. All right. So I'm gonna bring this one in. And what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you how to tighten up one. What we do is go here, you tighten it up till the bolt stops and just a little bit more. You don't want to squeeze it and break that gasket. All right, so let's go around and do all the bolts and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got the bolts tightened up. The next thing we're gonna do, we got a little cover right here. On our, no, in fact, let's leave that on. Let's go hook up our hoses. Let's hook up our one hose over here and bring that hose up till it can't go no more. Let's get our needle nose. Bring our clamp up. Lock into place. Great. Now we go over here to our lower radiator hose. Put that on till it stops. Now, let's get our clamp. Bring it up. Release it. That is great, guys. All right, the next thing we're gonna do. Now we took off two things right here for the water, for the pump, in front of the pump. First thing, we got our idler pulley. Got a 15mm bolt right there. Let's put that on. And then we got our tensioner. Now, to put our tensioner on, you notice how there's like a indentation right in there. Now if you look right down here where the tensioner goes, there's a little part that sticks out right there. So you want to make sure those line up when you put this back together. There you go. And we get that in there. So let's get our... Okay, I got my 3/8 drive ratchet with my 15mm socket and 13mm socket. Take my 15 and I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this one up, and then I'm gonna go down there with my 13 and tighten that one up. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got them on. Next thing we're gonna do, let's take off our cover right here. All right. Now we're gonna get our pulley, our water pump pulley. And, oh, that's cool. We got the bolt hole lined up right up at 12 o'clock. So I know now we're gonna put our pulley on. And right about 12 o'clock, that's where our bolt should be at, somewhere around there. Okay, that's great, that's great. And now the other ones should be pretty much lined up. We're just going to start them off by hand. All right, next what I'm going to do, get my air ratchet, 10mm shallow. Let's go in there and tighten them up. And what I'm gonna do, being that I'm using an air ratchet, it's gonna tighten these up, and I can use very little force to hold this pulley in place. See that? And when you tighten it up, you notice what I did? It went crossways. So that way you make sure that pulley goes on nice and easy. The next thing we're gonna do is put our belt on. Now check this out. On the hood up here, there's a sticker. Under the radius, there's a sticker. It shows you exactly how this belt goes. So what we're gonna do is go down here and put this belt on like this. Goes around here like that, and make sure the belt is on all the pulleys. Make sure it's lined up in all the grooves, because you definitely don't want to mess that up. All right, goes up under the tensioner. The idler pulley. I want to make sure down here it's in there. All right. Then the next thing I'm gonna do is go over here, go over the alternator, and then I'm gonna get ready to put it. Matter of fact, let's take it off of the idler and put it down here on the tensioner. All right, and then what we're gonna do is let's take our 3/8 drive ratchet, and just like we're loosening it, we're gonna put it into the tensioner, and we're gonna bring it across. 1 second here. Wrong way. Okay, you're gonna loosen up, bring it in, go under the tension, under the idler. Make sure the pulleys are still lined up. Let it go. Great. Done. We'll be right back. All right, guys. The next thing we're gonna do is put our fan and our shroud in. But before we put this assembly in, you notice on the top, these are where our 10mm bolt goes. On here, on the bottom, you see these little slots, these little tabs. They set in these slots right down here on the radiator. So there's no bolts in the bottom. You just set down there. They're gonna move one over here, and there's one over here. They're gonna set down, and then we're gonna bolt that up. But what we gotta do is, we gotta carefully lower this down as an assembly. And again, be very careful because of that radiator. So we're gonna lower it down. All right. Gotta make sure our tabs are lined up at the bottom. Great. Now, this is the difficult part. Putting this fan on. So you gotta carefully, slowly turn this fan and try to get it up there, or you can try to get the wrench. But I like to do it this way, a lot easier. Because once it grabs by a couple threads, it's gonna be good. See that? Now, you can see that nut down there? Huh? All right, now you see we got it up there? You see me spinning it on? All right, now it's all the way on. We ain't tightened it up yet. Now what we do, we got our fan down in there, our shroud in there. Now we're gonna take our two 10mm bolts, put it into the top of the shroud on both sides. Get our 10mm and tighten them up. Notice how I got slow to a certain point, because this is going into plastic and you don't want to over tighten this. Perfect, guys, perfect. The next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna take our 1 7/6" wrench, put it on the water pump, the fan, tighten it up. Now it's tight. We're gonna take our hammer, just hit it a few times. It ain't gotta go crazy. Done. Perfect. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, before we put our air cleaner and all that back together, we're gonna start putting some antifreeze in this thing, all right? There is no bleed screw or nothing, so you don't have to worry about anything. Now you wanna get yourself a nice little tool like this. This thing is like $25, and instead of sitting here trying to pour antifreeze inside the radiator and spilling it everywhere, this thing eliminates that need. There's a bunch of adapters in there, and this is the adapter I'm gonna use. It fits in there, and it's got a little washer, a rubber washer right there. Goes down, set that over it, tighten it up. Okay, take the funnel, stick it right there, and that's all we have to do now is fill this up with antifreeze. Not fill this up, but what I'm gonna do is you keep it level right about here. So that way when the car's running, because of the back pressure and all, it might fill back up to this point, but once that thermostat opens, it's all gonna drop down. But in the meantime, you make sure the level stays right about there. And you want to make sure you get some 50-50 antifreeze. Alright, so we're gonna start pouring that in. And it's a good thing you pour about half a bottle in, then you look around to see if you got any leaks anywhere or anything. Now this is a good sign. Look over here inside here, and you see it's bubbling right now. That's a good sign because that lets me know that there's no leaks in the system. If there wasn't a leak somewhere, because of that leak, it would create that, let the air out, and this will just be going down slowly. Unless it's a self-bleeding system, what this is, you know what I mean. I hope you know what I mean. All right, while that's, oh dang it, that's down already. All right, so let's put this back up there. All right, I'm gonna put some antifreeze in here and fill up to the level. Dang, man, you real close to that. How close you really did it?
Too close?
No, okay. I think Joaquin's gonna stick the camera in the antifreeze, man. All right, so we're gonna fill this up to that line, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, as that's going down, draining down there, let's put our air cleaner on. We're gonna go over here, and we got our clamp right here. Get that back there. Let's hook up our hose over here. And matter of fact, before we do that, let's connect our mass airflow sensor. Then we're gonna go over here and put the thing onto the throttle body. Get our connector right here for the air temperature sensor. That's connected. Bring our breather right over there. Great, that's on perfectly. Let's get our clamp around there. Lock it on. Done. Next thing we got this little hose right here. We took that off. So let's get that hose on. Okay, and last, our connector right here. That just snaps right into place. Done. The next thing we're gonna do is get our flat screwdriver, and we're gonna go over here and tighten up this clamp. All right, so we're gonna tighten up the clamp, and we're gonna keep filling this up with antifreeze. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we got this antifreeze up to about this level. Everything on. Let me start this up. Let me show you. Yeah, that's everything on.
Real good. Real good today, man.
That's the AC compressor. Let me cut the heat on. Alright guys, we're gonna sit here, let this run, let it warm up, keeping on the antifreeze level. Everything's sounding good. We'll be right back.